Welcome to the June 22nd Kilda Hills Board of Commissioners meeting. We will call this meeting to order, and if you'll please join us and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As we enter our moment of silence this evening, we heard of sad news this morning that Pam Riddick with our fire department, you may know Pam, and her sister Kathy Miller, who worked here for years in our public works department, their mother passed away yesterday. So please keep them in your thoughts and prayers during this most difficult time. And with that, we'll call for a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Okay, first on the agenda this evening is the agenda approval.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Right. Next item on the agenda is the first time set aside this evening for public comment. This is an opportunity for anyone that's in the audience who wishes to address the board on any topic of their choosing to do so. We have a list. We have one person signed up, and then we'll call from the floor. John Towler, Sergeant Towler, would you like to speak at this public comment time? Welcome.
Thank you. Putting on my Crime Line coordinator hat tonight to make a presentation. As you know, Crime Line has been helping law enforcement since 1983, which is longer than, well, no, most people in this room are probably old, except young Hugo here. We're around in 1983. It's been a good partnership. They provide rewards for people who help us in law enforcement with tips on crimes. And it's very rare that we're able to acknowledge anyone who helps Crime Line because they're anonymous. We are very proud of protecting people's anonymity, and it's one of the important things that Crime Line does is to keep people anonymous, to keep those tips coming in. But tonight we have someone who helped us, and we can celebrate it a little bit, and I'm here tonight to present him his reward check. Hugo? This is Mr. Hugo Arias. He is the resident of Kilda Hills, and he is the gentleman who helped us recover the two stolen guns. We thought there were three at the time, but there turned out to be only two stolen guns from one of our residential neighborhoods. Mr. Arias found the bag that was hidden up under a tree near his property, and he called us. Normally, Crime Line doesn't reward sort of ex post facto tips that come in late, but in this case, he definitely deserved one, and it definitely was a tip that needed to not go through Crime Line and needed to come through 911, so they saw fit to provide him a reward. So Hugo, thank you very much for your civic mindedness. We really appreciate it. The only bad news is now everyone knows you're a little richer, so if you owe anyone money, you're out of luck.
I just want to shake your hand and thank you so much. Thank you. Really
Thank you very much.
Great things. Is this your father?
This is his grandson, right?
No,
This is your son. Sorry, I didn't mean to age you. And that's Olivia, his wife, is with him here
Great.
tonight
Well,
too. So,
the heroic thing your dad did.
It
It
was
really
very
took
nice.
those guns off
Yes,
the
it
street
was.
is huge. So thank you so much.
all right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
yes.
Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you all. I'll put on the order for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's great. Give me the opportunity.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak at this public comment time? Okay. Well, thank you, and John, thank you so much for sharing that on behalf of the Dare Community Crime Line, and thank you again. Really appreciate that. Helping us keep our community safe. It takes a village. Okay. Okay, we'll move on then to new business since we don't have any old business this evening. And the first item under new business is recommended action to adopt the operating budget. Item A, this is the fiscal year 2016-2017 budget ordinance and consolidated fee schedule for the town. Debbie.
Yes, ma'am, thank you very much. The Board of Commissioners did hold a public hearing on the proposed or the recommended budget on June 8th, as well as we held a budget work session. And in the budget work session, the following bullets were approved by the Board of Commissioners. There is a typo in the memo that you received in your packet, and that first bullet, it should read by reducing the capital outlay expenditures in the street division, street and drainage, and you have a correct copy at your places, I think. This was to add merit bonuses expenditures in the general fund, and then there's also been a proportion, like a similar ratio added in the water fund. And you asked the manager to make plans to recommend and implement a new merit plan for deserving employees in the 2017-18 fiscal year. The second was a request that we had from the Historical Landmarks Commission to provide some new booklets and posters for our open house. And you authorized that we could expend that money through the current budget lines in the planning department, and that in the future we will have an expense line for the Historical Landmarks Commission. And then lastly, you allowed us to correct an estimate that was incorrect for a new vehicle in the fire department. The other item that I'd like to point out is in your budget ordinance that is also in your packet. There is, and this will be corrected on your adopted budget that we will be presenting to you a little bit later this month. The reserve for the future projects for streets in section 2, and then the street construction capital reserve fund should be the 420, reflecting the 80,000 that was reallocated in the merits. And those will be corrected and placed in your new budget for the upcoming fiscal year. At this time, I'd like to recommend that the Board of Commissioners adopt the budget ordinance as I just amended, and the consolidation fee for the fiscal year 2016-17 and ordinance number 1518.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Basically, the amendments were exactly what we had already discussed. It's just getting it straight on paper, so. Okay, all those in favor, please signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And then item B is the capital reserve ordinance for the purpose of establishing wireless communication related improvements. This is an existing ordinance that was just expiring this fiscal year, and just you're adopting it with the new dates. This is ordinance number 1519, and a motion would be in order to adopt it.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Make a motion that we adopt the capital reserve ordinance for the purpose of establishing wireless communication related improvements.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Straightforward. All those in favor, please signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your guidance and direction with the budget, and we look forward to implementing it.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, and staff for doing such a great job putting it together.
Okay, we'll move on then to item number 2 under new business. This is a reappointment to the Personnel Board. Jackie Rick Sample's term on the town's Personnel Board expires in August of this year. She does desire to be considered for reappointment. And that being the case, and with her service, I would like to make a motion that we reappoint Jackie Rick Sample to the Personnel Board.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. So we're kind of setting a precedence for ourselves. We are moving along pretty quickly once again. We're already on to Commissioner's agenda. Commissioner Mitchell.
Not much for me today. I am looking forward to the discussion about dogs on the beach. There seems to be quite a bunch of opinions out there. So I'm looking forward to that. And there's a lot of people that want to know the exact date for that.
The exact date that it's on the agenda,
Yes.
I may be incorrect, it was my understanding the next meeting, is that
That's-
correct?
I think that's what we
I wasn't-
had discussed,
That's what I,
yes.
that's what I thought too.
But I don't know that I think we indicated that, but I don't know that we specifically said, let's make that happen.
If
So that would be,
If that's not what you
that would be-
desire, let me know, because that was my intent.
Okay, that's great.
so the date of that meeting is July 8th, I believe, Monday, July 8th? Is that correct? Or the 11th, sorry, the 11th. I think
11th.
September is August is the 8th. So for those who are interested, Monday, July 11th, then?
Yes, ma'am.
At 5:30 will be. But for anyone that is listening or anyone that is here that has comments to share about their opinion with Dogs on the Beach, you don't have to wait till the 11th. We've certainly already been receiving emails and a few phone calls. If you do want to submit anything that you want as part of public comment or public record, please feel free to email the board. It's really easy to reach all of us. It's boc@kbhnc.com, and that immediately goes to all of us as commissioners, if you want to share your comments. But certainly we welcome you on July 11th at that meeting as well to share your comments. Thank you.
Nothing for me tonight.
Nothing tonight.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that discussion too. And the one, like we mentioned before, the tattoos and the town-wide recycling, couple things we ought to get moving on, no urgency.
Well, and with that, since, again, Debbie was not able to be here at the last meeting, under the Mayor Pro Tem's comments, he wanted to look at revisiting the ordinance that relates to tattoo establishments.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't think that we set a date to that either.
No.
Or, the recycling, we did, but we didn't put a
The recycling,
date.
we are putting some information together for the board, and that will be coming shortly. The tattoos is just a matter of, what type of information would you like? I think they were getting some, neighborhood areas information. We can certainly provide you with the history as to how the ordinance came about, if you'd like.
We can plagiarize something from somebody, can't we?
It is the intent of the board to consider allowing it.
Right.
Yes. Then if you'd like, that can also be on that agenda, or you can bump that one out to August.
I think I would recommend bumping that one to August because And
I agree.
I shared in the last meeting that I remember, one of the things Bill Pitt had shared when I first, put into to run, was that during your term, you will deal with dogs on the beach, and, hadn't yet, it was 5 years, and, but now I will, so, he was right in his wisdom. So I think potentially, because that will be a very long meeting with lots of comments, maybe we put it on that first meeting in August, which,
Okay, and that'll allow, for additional time to get information together. And then,
and then regarding the recycling, I know Beverly and team and staff and Steve, I think you guys are pulling stuff, so you could let us know, maybe that's September, depending on when you have the information ready. I think they're also trying to gather information from NAG's Head based on how cost effective or not their plan is to go to townwide recycling. So, okay,
absolutely, okay, yes ma'am.
thanks for bringing this back up.
One other thing too, I was looking at the copy of the Milepost magazine, a free magazine you pick up, and there's an article in there about our coming disc golf course. And it's a pretty interesting read, it's not very long, it deservedly gives a lot of credit to Daryl Davies for the work that he's done on it, and I'm glad that he was recognized for that. And when it all comes about, we'll have a list of everybody that's participated and the volunteers, and I know Derek Allison helped out a lot. Anyway, it's a pretty good article, I'd give it a look. Thank you.
I comments, it was a great article with one exception. I think they had that it was opening in June. That's not the case. I think that was a little overzealous. We don't really have any idea exactly when it will open. The work, I know they've been on the site quite a few times, and I think they're in maybe the bid review process for starting the clearing work. But I don't even want to throw out a date because I have no idea. But it is progressing, which is great. So.
It's getting a lot of recognition, not only regionally, but across the state. There's people interested in contacting Daryl, because he's in on that group, and a lot of other people. So I think it's going to hit the ground running for us.
Yeah, and I envision next year, during the tourist season, so it's open then, we'll have a handful of people that want to play, because I've received a few emails asking when it's opening from people that are coming in and visiting that already have vacations planned because they can't wait to go use it. Well, not this summer, but. Anything else?
Yeah, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Under Mayor's agenda, just a couple of items this evening. I just wanted to update you on, I know the last meeting we talked briefly or spoke briefly about the coyotes and inviting a guest here to speak. And we are going to have someone from the Coastal Regional Wildlife, or North Carolina's Wildlife Resources Commission, the Division of Wildlife Management, will be here at our September 12th meeting to present with that, to present to us. But in the meantime, Mary has been working really hard at getting information and video from NAG's Heads meeting where they received a presentation and a PowerPoint was shown, getting that on our website. It may be really advantageous for anyone that's interested in this topic and has concerns, which we've heard from a number of citizens that do have concerns. If they would take the opportunity to watch the video and look at the PowerPoint prior to the representative coming here at September 12th, because it might provide some background and help with some specific questions that people may have, and then we'll be more prepared for that discussion with that representative at that meeting. So, but just to update everybody that.
Mayor, that information has not been posted yet, but it will be available hopefully by the end of this week under the community tag on the website.
Okay, great. And so if anyone didn't hear that, the information we expect to be on the website by the end of this week under the community tab is where you can find that information. So thank you, Mary, for your work on that. Let's see. I guess the only other thing is in a few minutes we're going to do some recognition for some incredible service that we've had from Greg and then also from our town attorney. It's a bittersweet meeting that this will be both of their last meetings with us, unless they want to come back and hang out, which would be great. You're welcome to. But we received exciting news this morning that, and congratulations to Meredith Guns, who has been named our next planning director. So we're excited. Great for you and great for us as well. So congratulations. And that's all I have this evening. We were going to talk about fracking, but actually, I received a letter. I pulled it out of my own packet because I'd received a letter to see if I would be interested to sign on. Basically, it's another letter opposing fracking or expressing concerns about fracking in the area. There's the 81st annual mayor's conference that's held somewhere out west in a few months or something, but they're trying to get as many mayors as possible to sign on to this letter. And after speaking with Mary late this afternoon, we thought it would be best to send them the ordinance that we adopted, or the proclamation we adopted expressing our opposition and our concerns of fracking, and that ordinance, along with my signature, would be sufficient to show that we are in continued opposition as a town. So, yeah, thank you. Yep. Okay, so with that, we'll move on to town manager's agenda. Town attorney's agenda?
Nothing for you this evening.
Just I'm out of here.
It is worth noting that in case anyone's curious what happens, that this is Steve's last meeting, that doesn't mean the chair will be empty here forward. Our contract is with his firm, even though we have said Steve is our town attorney. Contractually, the town of Kittle Hills contracts with his firm, so we will move forward with another representative from his firm Casey Vernell, who has been with us on a number of meetings when Steve has not been able to be here. Casey is incredibly excited about kind of stepping into this role with us, and has expressed that excitement and eagerness. Not that he's excited Steve's leaving, but it's a great opportunity for him, and he's really pleased to be having the opportunity to continue serving with us in a greater capacity. So he will be joining us at our next meeting.
And we will have, an agreement under the consent agenda, that just kind of ties it all together at the next meeting.
Okay, so no town attorney's agenda, then we'll go to the consent agenda. Debbie?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. The first item is the minutes from the June 13, 2016. The second, are budget amendments, there's 4. The first one is, to record prepaid grant funds, Prime Line. Second is to record the PEG Channel Support Fund. Number 3, to reflect an increase in contract service fees as a result of increased sales of surplus property. And then last, to amend the Beach Nourishment Capital Project ordinance to reflect revised cost estimates. An item that is not in your packet that I have is the recordation of a budget transfer. And if you recall, in the budget ordinance, it allows the budget officer to transfer funds from departments to divisions. In other words, in the police department, you can transfer from the animal control division, vice versa. And that's what this is. It's a transfer from the police department to fund animal control salary deficits for callback pay, And staff would recommend approval of the consent agenda as presented, and a motion would be in order.
Thank you. Questions, comments, motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we have circled back around really quickly to the second time set aside this evening for public comment. Would anyone like to speak at this public comment? Chris, is this your last meeting too?
Yes,
It's your last meeting too. Chris is leaving the area. We talked about Chris last meeting, but again, since you are here, we'll thank you again for all of your service.
thank you.
It's much appreciated, and you will be greatly missed in our community.
It'll be quieter.
That's true.
Anyone have any comments? Well, before we conclude and have cake and a little bit of celebration, I will just, pass on comments of caution and awareness on our highways, especially the bypass and traveling. There was another horrific accident on the north side of the bridge yesterday, involving fatality. There's been accidents up and down the bypass. I know our fire and police and first responders have been incredibly busy, not only in our town, but throughout the county. It is just incredibly busy, and it seems like everybody is in a hurry. So maybe, I know I have to constantly remind myself to just try to slow down. It's okay. It's much better to be a few minutes late, like I was today, I apologize, than to push it and be involved in an accident that then you will be much later if you make it at all. So I'll just, share those words of caution, and then just in general, with the hustle and bustle of the summer and emotions heating up, just also to just take a moment to be mindful and respectful of others. And if someone's not respectful for you, we can be the bigger people and let it roll off, because it's only gonna go south if we try to escalate and respond to those issues. So, last meeting, we had the pleasure of being introduced to all of our lifeguards. What a great team they are, and what a tough job they have. So continue to think of them and wish them well through the summer, and with a very tough job that they have in keeping people safe. But anything we can do to help and support them, we will. Any other comments?
Mayor, if I may.
Absolutely.
Actually, I'd like to make a couple. First, I can't tell first I'd like to thank Greg for the almost 30 years. He's leaving to the day. His last day is the end of June, and his first day was July 1st, 3 years ago, and I actually remember it. So I just really appreciate everything you've done, and I was sharing with someone earlier this week that with Greg, if his plate was full, he simply went and got another plate. He always would do whatever you asked him to do, and he always did it very well. Excuse me. Oh, I'm gonna get through this. And then, our dear town attorney, he's kept us out of so much trouble. And, I've so enjoyed working with him, and, I appreciate your guidance.
It's been a pleasure. Great board, you've got a great staff. You'll be just fine.
We do unless they all start retiring.
Yes.
And unfortunately, we've got a few that are right there together, so we're just gonna have to, tie them to their desk or something, I don't know, but, hopefully you're not starting an exodus, because we just can't handle that. No. So,
I'd like to say a couple words too.
Please.
If it's my time. And, thank you, Debbie. Those are real kind words, and I hope you don't make me get sentimental as well, because I really enjoyed my time here, and Debbie's been a great guidance, and Steve, and the boards, and the staff. First of all, Casey Varnell is a great guy to work with, and, I've had experience working with him on the easements for beach nourishment, and some other things as well, but, he's a trooper, and he's gonna do the board very well, and I hope you guys give him a good chance at it. And, beyond that, I've loved working with the town, and I've learned a lot. I feel like this is my second education. The years in school and training subsequently through the time have, I think, served me well and helped me make some of those decisions and take on some of the extra work that Debbie's talking about. I miss some of the challenges. Commissioner Appleman says, "Aren't you gonna be bored? You're just be driving a boat." Well, yes and no. I've got some other interests that I'm pursuing too, some of the other hobbies that I like, I'll spend more time on. But yes, there's never a boring moment around Keller Hills. I'm looking around the room and I'm seeing some of the faces that keep it interesting for me, and some that aren't here as well, maybe can get a chuckle out of that, but it's always something different every day, and always a challenge. And I know Meredith is going to be able to rise to those challenges, and the rest of the staff, which I really appreciate their help over the years. And finally, while I might not miss some of the phone calls and some of the interaction, I'm certainly going to miss all the people. And that goes from board to staff to people I've worked with, business relationships over the years. It's been great, it really has been. I remember somebody saying it hasn't always been wonderful, but overall it's been great. So I appreciate the opportunities that the town has given me, and thank you very much for your words.
Greg, I think it's appropriate that your last plate will have celebratory cake.
Well, thank you.
You empty that plate and you're done.
Well, I can take some home to my kids.
There you go.
Got a bunch of them.
Well, Greg, one of the things, certainly from my position, that's just been invaluable in working with you is the way you work with the public. And, people can say all they want that, planning's difficult to work with, or, oh my gosh, you can't do anything in Killable Hills because of the planning department, or they're just, but the first thing I do is say, okay, let's go sit down with Greg and let's have a meeting. And every time we've done that, they've walked away with either a closed lip that they can no longer say the town's not willing to work with them or the town's difficult to work with, or at least a newfound appreciation for, what, maybe I just wasn't listening, because they were trying to work with us. But I think it's the way in which you treat people, the calm approach you have when you do meet with them, the thoroughness that you use in explaining things to them, and when I have come to you for guidance or, hey, can you help us? Let's get this straight because I think there's a disconnect in communication. You've been brilliant in doing that in the way you handle people. And so in that aspect, you're leaving big shoes to fill, but I have confidence that Meredith and the team can do that. So you'll be getting those phone calls too. But it really is, those meetings have truly been invaluable in bringing either citizens or business owners around to understand it's a very complex department, planning is, and even though on the surface it may seem that either our ordinances or our people are unwilling or inflexible, a lot of times it's just truly the opportunity to sit down and explain to them, here's what we're guided, not guided, here's what we're mandated through ordinance, what we can do and can't do. But then here's some opportunities either where we can look at changing an ordinance because it's a living document, or here's some flexibility you have. So thank you for all of your service over the last 5 years that we've been together and doing that, but you've obviously been doing that much longer. For about 30 years you've been doing that, so thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes,
Can I speak out of order?
absolutely, right? Did you say yes?
You're not having a long meeting, right?
Yeah, this is just now a free-for-all. I don't even know if that's on the agenda, but we can do it, right?
Thank you for the opportunity to speak back. I really didn't come here with an item to speak, but I'd like to address your comments about how to be careful this summer because of all the traffic and the drivers out there. Part of the reason we have fewer accidents than we do is because you commissioners, you board, have stepped up and put sidewalks in our town everywhere. And it costs money, and you had to help keep our taxes up when you could have lowered them to do that. But we have a safer environment. I don't have any other place. I'm only talking about here. But I think we have a model that any other town could follow in this county, and they would be hard pressed to keep up with us. And thank you for doing that. The other is to talk about Greg briefly. I'm assuming that when my mouth was full of cake and you couldn't hear me, but he's been a wonderful person. He's been the chairman as long as I've been on the zoning board, and I have enjoyed having the ability to talk to him or any of his staff at any time. On a personal level, he's been a friend of mine since he was born. He was when his parents were down here working in a little diner they had on the beach called either the Dairy Queen or the Cattle King. I forget. The Pirate's Den. He was still 5-year-old, was schlepping, cleaning the tables off, So they had him working early, and he took that work ethic, kept it with him all the time. And on the way, he picked up an ethic of helping people, and he does help people. He does greet people nicely, and that makes the medicine go down easier when sometimes people have to tell them they can't have what they want. But if you take time and pull the mayor into the conversation, you can make progress. Politics is all about people. He's a good political person. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you. One of my favorite T-shirts that Go on Wheels ever had was the one that said "Service is our business," and I remember it had all the departments on the back of it, and I hope everybody on the entire staff can remember that. And I think they do. I really do. So thank you.
Does anyone else just have comments they want to share? Okay, well, we will officially adjourn, but we will adjourn to cake. So please don't leave us, and thanks for those of you who have come out tonight and are here to celebrate a little bit with us. We will procedurally adjourn the meeting, but then please stay and enjoy cake and some drinks with us. So if there's no further business, a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Thank you very much.